Very good evening and a very welcome back to your students. So myself Dhruv Saxena, your course instructor for the ongoing course of Environmental Engineering. I welcome you all to the lecture 14 and I once again welcome you all to our TechCube Faculty's YouTube channel and the initiative that we have just begun with, that is Let's Crack the Gate. So with all the good support that we have been getting from entire student fraternity, we have crossed the 6,000 subscriber mark. I'm really thankful to all of you that you have subscribed and are continuously learning from us. Our aim continues to provide the best quality education for GATE training to all, each and every part of the country and all the students, all of our students and all unfortunately who are not our students earlier. And with the help of YouTube, now every one of you watching are our students. So thanks for watching this. Let us continue our discussion on the topics that we have left in the previous lecture. So our topic for the previous class was continuous flow type tank. In the previous lecture, we discussed about the various concepts related to sedimentation analysis. We learned about the various factors that might affect. We learned about the Stokes law. What are the conditions when we can use it. Now we'll learn some more things with regards to sedimentation analysis, and we'll be also covering some numericals that have come previously in the GATE exam and other competitive exams. So I request all of you, before starting today's lecture, keep your calculator handy and keep your notebook out with you. Let's start taking notes and let's start learning with environmental engineering with me. Okay, so continuous flow type tank. Like I discussed in the last class, that continuous flow type tank are those in which the flow continues. Okay. Uh, Previously we learned about quiescent type or the fixed flow or fill and draw, in which the flow was not continuous. So let us write the basic things about this. So it is type of tank in which flow of the water in which flow of the water is maintained to be continuous during which during which solids in water during which solids in water gets settled in the tank. Now again, these tanks are of two types. So let us directly start our discussion with the first type, that is horizontal flow type tank. The other one is vertical flow type tank that we will be discussing later in today's lecture. So put this heading in your notebooks and now before starting this one, let us understand why we term it as horizontal flow type. So the concept is simple. This is your sedimentation tank and this is your water level. So in the horizontal flow type tank, this being your this rectangular portion, uh, this is your elevation. This is your length of the tank. Okay, let me draw the side cross section view also. So this is your side view. Okay, this is a breadth of the this particular tank. This is a rectangular tank. So what do we mean by horizontal flow type? It means that there is an inlet from which water is coming, entering the tank at a velocity, that is flow velocity. Okay, and there is an outlet in the tank from where the water will be flowing outwards to the next process. Okay, now as we have discussed earlier, there is a settling zone and then there is a sludge zone. So let me quickly draw this. So this is your sludge zone, and this one is your settling zone. Okay, so before starting this analysis, there are two assumptions behind it. This analysis, first of all, the first assumption says that the particle, when we will be considering it to be removed from the tank, when the particle, for example, it is here on the surface, it travels to the bottom of the tank or to the bottom of the settling zone. This will be the time, or this will be the moment then we will when we will consider this particle to be completely removed. Okay, this is your settling zone. So when it will reach to the bottom surface of the settling zone, then we will consider it to be completely removed. This is the first assumption. The second assumption is that the concentration of the suspended solids, or the concentration of all particles, all sizes, what I mean is same when we consider a vertical section at the inlet. So concentration of particles is same. See, these assumptions, second assumption mostly will be very helpful in simplifying the sedimentation analysis that we are doing. Otherwise, if we consider the concentrations to be different at different levels in the vertical section at the inlet, then it will be a little complex to analyze it. Okay. So what does this sludge contains? Sludge contains all the suspended solids that have settled down, plus obviously the water. So whenever we are cleaning, we can simply drain these two out in the form of sludge. So before moving on with the analysis, let us write down these assumptions. So assumptions in the analysis of continuous flow type. So write down the first assumption, that a particle is assumed to be removed in the tank. The particle is assumed to be removed in the tank if it reaches the bottom of the settling zone. The bottom of the settling zone. Concentration, the second assumption is on the concentration of particles of all sizes is same at all the points at all the points of the vertical section at all the points of the vertical section at the inlet end. Okay, so what are the what are the forces that will be acting on this particle? See, first of all, the velocity of flow of the water, it will be taking the particle along with it in the horizontal direction towards the outlet. Secondly, there will be some settling velocity due to uh, various forces such as gravitational force. So the resultant will be the this line, and the particle, it is observed to follow a straight line path till it reaches to the bottom of the settling zone. Okay. Now if we consider the particle here and we draw the free body diagram here, so it will come out to be something like this. Okay. So with this, what can we calculate? What can we find out? If we take TD as the detention time, so can we write it as L, that is the length, by Vf, that is the flow velocity? Also, can we write that the detention time will be equal to the height of the settling zone divided by the settling velocity? This is the vertical distance covered and the left one is the horizontal distance covered. Okay, I hope these basic things are clear. And how can we calculate the flow velocity? Or how can we calculate the otherwise? We can calculate the area using the flow velocity. Flow velocity is given, then we can take the design discharge value and we can find out the cross section area using this. ठीक है भाई, क्रॉस सेक्शन एरिया निकाल लेंगे, which is nothing but QD by P into H. So this will be easily found. Next, we can also relate detention time with it. So detention time will be given as length times breadth times height divided by your design discharge, that is volume by design discharge. Okay, and to simplify it further, this V is your design discharge, V by QD. Okay, now I am continuing the analysis here. Can we write from the above two equations that we have obtained for detention time that L by Vf equal to H by Vs, which is settling velocity? So from here we can find the relation for settling velocity in terms of these three terms. It will turn out to be H into flow velocity divided by L. Okay, which can further be written as H times design discharge by cross section area multiplied by the length. Here your H and H will cancel out. So the value of settling velocity will come out to be QD by V times L. Now, if the particle size is known, we can find out the settling velocity Vs, that is settling velocity, can be found using the Stokes law. We have learned about the Stokes law in the previous lecture. Okay. Now with the help of this, we can find out the value of the surface area, that is B into L. Now generally what happens, that you have found out the value for B into L, that is the surface area. Now how to find out the length and breadth? So for that, the water supply manual by the government of India, it recommends that we consider a ratio. We can take the ratio as 1 is to 2 to 1 is to 5 for the length to breadth to length ratio. Okay. So using that, we can easily find out what will be the various design parameters for the tank, the rectangular tank. I hope it is clear. So we can simply write that hence using this we can find dimensions of sedimentation tank. Hence we can find dimensions of sedimentation tank. Okay. Now let us discuss about various different cases. This will improve your understanding regarding it. I am taking this diagram below so that it will be easier for us to understand. Okay, so I've got this diagram here. Now let us consider some different cases. I will be drawing particles and we will be analyzing what will be the sedimentation process for them. So for example, let us also write the different cases that we will be discussing. So case 1 for particle at a small height h from bottom. By small height h I mean that small h is less than capital H. Now for the given same condition, if there is a particle which is at a height of small h, now what will be the forces? Again same, there will be a flow velocity and there will be the weight that will be taking it down with the settling velocity. Again it will follow the same straight line path, and what do we observe? That it will take a little considerably less amount of time to settle down. It will easily settle down. Okay, it will take less amount of time than the particle which is at a higher height from the bottom. Okay, this is one of the case. So we can also analyze it mathematically. We can talk in terms of detention time. The detention time for the particle that we have analyzed above will be h by vs, and detention time for the smaller particle, let us say td dash, it will be small h by vs. Okay. Now with the above relations and this relation, we can conclude that td dash will be less than td. Okay. Now if we consider about the length here in this case will be L by Vf for the particle that is above. Sorry, I have written it in terms of detention time. We can write it in terms of length as well. So length is Vf times your detention time. Okay. Now for the smaller particle, let us say the length it will be covering is L dash. So what that will be? The flow velocity remains the same. The detention time will be Td dash. That is Td dash is less than Td. So what we can conclude is L dash will be less than L. So with this we can conclude that the length that this particle will be covering, even it will be lesser when compared to the particle that is at a higher height. So can we write a simple line that from this analysis, concerned size of particles are 100% removed. इस लाइन का क्या मतलब है? कंसर्न साइज. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय कंसर्न साइज? कंसर्न साइज मीन्स the particle for which we are designing the tank. Now in this case, the particle for which we are designing is the particle for which we calculate the various dimensions using the analysis that we have done above for the particle that we consider to be at the top surface of the water level, and we assume it to be completely removed when it reaches to this position, that is the bottommost surface of the settling zone. So with this we can determine the various dimensions for sedimentation tank, and we design the entire process for this particular particle size. How do we calculate that for which particle size we need to design the tank? We do the grading, we do the analysis for the suspended solids, that which particle is having the majority of the concentration. With the first case, we have learned that for the particle of whatever size we are considering, the particles that are all of the same dimensions, that is dia, they all will be settled down. And not only it, we have also written that they will be 100% removed. So whether the particle is at the top surface or at the bottom surface, from this case 1 we have understood that all the concerned size particles will be removed. Now let us take about the case 2. Let us consider a particle D2. The particle is having the dia of D2, where the D2 is greater than D. What it means is that the particle now we are considering is having a diameter more than this, more than our initially analyzed particle. So for example, this is your D2 and this is your small d. Okay. Now according to you, what will happen? See, if the diameter is large, then its volume will be large. Considering that the density is same, if the density is same and dia is large for D2, then what will be the effect on weight? The weight for D2 particle will be larger than the D. Now if the weight is larger, then it will settle down quickly. Okay, and also from the Stokes law we know that the settling velocity is proportional to square of dia. So if the diameter of the particle is increased, the square of the velocity of settling will be increased in terms of square, will be increased proportional to its square. Okay. So let us also try to find out the same thing mathematically. Let us prove it also. So for the particle D2, which is also at the height of same height, okay, whenever we are comparing two things, we need to consider that all other parameters remain constant. Out of, let us say, there are 100 students in your class. Now if I need to compare among all the students, I can compare it on a single parameter only. For example, I can ask that who is the tallest, or can we compare on the basis of height? Now if someone starts comparing on multiple parameters, then the comparison will be useless. There will be no significance of that comparison. For example, if I start comparing the students that, okay, who is having the highest height and highest weight, then it will be a very complex situation. The final results will not be satisfying both the things. So that is why we, whenever compare two different things, we change only one parameter. In the above one, we change the height, the particle dia remain the same. Here the dia is changed, but the height of the particle remains the same. So for the particle d2 which is at the same height h, so we find that since d2 is greater than d, we find that vs2 settling velocity is greater than vs. What it means? The td2 value will be given by h by vs2 and td value will be given by h by vs. Since vs2 is greater than vs, this value will be less, so it comes out to be td2 coming out to be less than td. So we can say that a lesser amount of time will be required for the particles to settle down. And if we talk in comparison for length, then length is given by L2 will be given by this TD2 times VF, okay, and L will be given by TD times VF. So with this TD2 being less than TD, the L2 comes out to be less than L. And since our design is for L, that is particle of size D, then can we conclude based upon this case that all the particles having size same or equal, same or greater than the concerned size particle, all such particles will be removed 100%. For example, if there is a particle of size 0.05 mm, now all the particles of sizes 0.06, 0.07, 0.08, 1, 2, all of them will be removed just based upon our analysis of this case 2. Okay, I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to teach here, and you will be able to apply the same in the coming numericals as well. So please write it down that particles of size greater than concerned size are also 100% settled. Okay, clear? Now let us discuss about the third situation. In the third case, we are talking about particle whose dia is d3, where the particle size is less than the concerned particle size or concerned size, while the height remains the same. Okay, now the situation is just opposite to the case 2, so we can analyze it quickly. So here the settling velocity will be less than the settling velocity for the concerned size particle. Based upon it, we can conclude that the detention time required for the D3 particle will be higher, and also the length required will be higher. Okay. Now based upon this analysis, we can conclude that definitely the particles which are of smaller size and are at the height of h, they will not be able to be settled. ये पार्टिकल्स रिमूव नहीं हो पाएंगे. ठीक है, ये बात आप समझ गए, क्योंकि ये डिटेंशन टाइम भी इनको ज्यादा चाहिए और लेंथ भी ज्यादा चाहिए टैंक में. नाउ try to analyze this same condition through this diagram. Now if let us say the particle we assumed is smaller, let me draw with red or let me change it the color to green. So let us say this is your particle, this green particle. This will also follow a similar path. Since the settling velocity will be less, the flow velocity remaining the same, the straight line will be having a little different slope. The particle will not be able to reach the bottom of the settling zone in the given length and time. Okay, the particle will just reach here. So would we consider it to be removed? No, we won't be considering. Why? Because we have assumed it initially that we will be considering only those particles to be removed that will be reaching the bottom of the settling zone. But considering that the outlet is from the top surface, let us say there is a pipe here. So whether this particle will be able to escape this? No. So there is a little complex issue here, or there is a little slight issue in this case. What is the issue? That if we remove the first assumption, we can say that partially this particle size will be removed. Okay, can we conclude with it? That not all the particles will be removed, but smaller size particles will be partially removed. How much they will be removed, how many will be removed, that we can do by mathematical calculation. This we will learn in the upcoming numericals as well. Now let us discuss about the third case, or sorry, the fourth case, or the last one, where the particle, that is D3, is at small h. Okay, particle D3 at small h. Now in this case, this T3 dash will be h by Vs3. Settling velocity will remain the same as D3. And for the concerned size particle, it will be h by Vs. Now, for some value of small h and Vs3, let us assume a hypothetical situation where the fraction, the ratio of small h is to Vs3 is equal to h by Vs. What will we conclude through it? That the time taken for that particle will be equal for the time taken for the particle at the top surface. Okay, in this case, see what is happening. This smaller size green color particle is at a height small h. Okay, now this will take a different path, but eventually this is also settling down at the bottom of the settling surface, settling zone. ये जो पार्टिकल है छोटी हाइट, छोटे साइज का, ये कम हाइट पे है, बट कुछ ऐसी हाइट पे है कि ये टाइम भी बराबर ले रहा है और ये भी जाके फाइनली सेटल हो जा रहा है. तो क्या अपन ये कह सकते हैं कि D3 पार्टिकल साइज, ये D3 पार्टिकल साइज है, D3 particle size up to height of h, they all will be settled down. करेक्ट भाई, आप ये चीज समझ पा रहे हैं? जब ये पार्टिकल कैपिटल है पे यानी कि टॉप ऑफ सेटलिंग जोन पे था, तब ये पार्टिकल हमने देखा कि ना ही इसको लेंथ पूरी मिल पा रही है सेटल होने के लिए अपने अजम्पशन के बेसिस पे, ना ही इसको टाइम पूरा मिल पा रहा है सेटल होने के लिए. बट इसी के लिए अपन ने दूसरा केस देखा जिसमें ये पार्टिकल एक छोटी हाइट पे है. अब इसको ऐसी हाइट पे रखा कि ये जो रेशियो है TD3 डैश एंड TD, तो ये रेशियो अपन ने कुछ इस तरीके से मैच करा कि इस हाइट और इस सेटलिंग वेलोसिटी के बेसिस पे जो अपना डिटेंशन टाइम है वो सेम है. अब अगर डिटेंशन टाइम सेम मिल जाता है, इसका क्या मतलब है कि वो पार्टिकल भी इवेंचुअली ये लाइन फॉलो करके यहाँ पे आपके सेटल हो जा रहा है बॉटम ऑफ द सेटलिंग जोन पे. तो इससे अपन ये मान सकते हैं कि the particles of size D3 will be completely removed if they are at a height of small h. With this, we can conclude that all particles of sizes that are smaller than the concerned size particle will be partially removed. They will be completely removed up till small h height, and they won't be able to remove them above this height. So we can conclude that they will be removed partially. There are many numericals which come each time, whether you talk about engineering services or whether you talk about GATE. These questions, they revolve around these concepts only, and eventually you can solve them using the concepts. These are simple concepts. Okay, so let us conclude it by writing a small point on it, that smaller size particles will be partially removed will be partially removed all these particles all these particles present in tank from 0 to small h height are removed in tank, and all these particles and all the particles that are present in tank from small h to capital H are taken out with settled water. यानी कि जब आउटलेट से पानी निकाला जाएगा तो ये जो स्मॉल एच से कैपिटल एच की हाइट में जो छोटे साइज के पार्टिकल हैं ये भी इसके साथ में अगले प्रोसेस में चले जाएंगे. ठीक है. Now, if someone asks to find out the percentage removal efficiency of these smaller size particles in comparison to concerned size particles, so how will we calculate? Let us see. So, what we need to find out is percentage removal of smaller size particles of smaller sized particles. So, it can be calculated with a simple relation that weight of particles removed divided by total weight of particles. This is what we have been asked. Total weight of particles times 100 because we are asked the percentage removal efficiency. Now, the weight of particles removed and total weight of particles. Let us consider the total weight of particles as capital W. Now, as per our second assumption, where we assumed that the concentration of particles of all sizes remains same vertically at the inlet end. So, based upon it and the analysis that we have just above, that the smaller size particles from height 0 to small h will be completely removed. Can we conclude that the weight of particles removed will be in the ratio of that height only? मेरा कहने का क्या मतलब है कि ये जो टैंक है जिसमें ये सारे पार्टिकल्स हैं, तो अपन ने अभी कंक्लूड किया कि जो पार्टिकल्स 0 से स्मॉल एच हाइट तक के हैं यहाँ पर जो आपके लाई कर रहे हैं ये सारे रिमूव हो जाएंगे और इसके ऊपर वाले रिमूव नहीं होंगे. तो क्या मैं वेट निकालने के लिए अपना सेकंड अजम्पशन यूज कर सकता हूं जिसमें मैंने ये कहा था कि कंसंट्रेशन वर्टिकल एंड पे पूरी बराबर है. कंसंट्रेशन इज सेम फॉर ऑल साइज पार्टिकल्स एट द वर्टिकल एंड एट द इनलेट एंड. सो क्या मैं उस बेसिस पे और केस 4 के बेसिस पे ये कह सकता हूं कि जो वेट है पार्टिकल्स जो कि रिमूव हो रहे हैं वो भी जो रिमूव होंगे वो भी उसी रेशियो में होंगे हाइट के हिसाब से. तो अगर मैं इसको यूज करते हुए रिलेशन डेवलप करने की कोशिश करता हूं तो आई कैन राइट दिस कैपिटल वेट W, द टोटल वेट कैपिटल W multiplied by the ratio of small h times capital H into 100. This will also give us the percentage removal of the smaller size particles. Now, using the relations that we have obtained just now, we can also conclude that the ratio between settling velocity will also give us the percentage removal of smaller size particles, and similarly based upon settling velocity cancelling out all the constant parameters we can also find that it can also be calculated based upon the given diameter. If we just take the ratio of the two diameters in terms of square and multiplied by 100, we can find out the removal percentage of the smaller size particles. Okay, so let us take some problems. What kind of questions can be asked? With this, we have completed the sedimentation analysis. Now we'll be just moving on with the questions. And before that, moving on to the further questions, we'll be discussing about the vertical flow type continuous tank and also some of the parameter values which have been recommended by the water supply manual. Okay, so before that, let us take a quick question. So the question says to find out the percentage removal of the smaller size particles. Now there is some language. I am not concerned about it. I am much more concerned about the size of the particles, the table that is given, and the weight, or it is given in the form of concentration also, you can say. So size is given, chart by chart is given in which different sizes 0.6, 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, and respective weights are given as 150, 250, 100, 200 and 300. Okay, now based upon it, you need to find out what will be the percentage, what will be the efficiency in terms of percentage of sedimentation. Can you find it out? Please try it. How will we find out? The only given value that is available with us apart from this is that the concerned size is 0.4. Okay, now you have been asked to find out the percentage removal efficiency. Pause this video, try this question by yourself, then resume this video, then we will continue our discussion. See, whenever all on behalf of all tech faculties, I am recommending it. Whenever any one of us gives you a numerical problem, definitely it is not a orthodox conventional class in which you are sitting in front of us so that we can see that what you are doing and we can allot you a particular amount of time for that. So in this case, with the recorded lectures, it is beneficial that all of you can pause the video, resume it whenever you feel like. You take your own time to maybe take a break or maybe solve the question. But more importantly, for solving the question, take your break, take the time, solve it. We are not going anywhere. The solution will be coming right after it. And as you have attempted it, whatever value you might have got, your answer might be completely wrong, your solution might be completely wrong. It doesn't matter. Pause the video, try it by yourself, because in the GATE exam, there will be no faculty sitting beside you that who will be helping you. No one will be there, practically speaking. You have to do it by yourself. You will be attending the questions by yourself. Okay. Now, once you have attempted the questions, then resume the video, see how your faculty has solved it. Okay. Now, for example, I hope you have done it by now. If you haven't, pause this video. So I hope you have paused and you have resumed it again after trying it. So let us start our discussion. So based upon the given values of particle size and the concentration and the concerned size particle, which is given as 0.4, can I conclude based upon the cases that we have discussed above that all the particles of the concerned size, that is this, and above it, that is 0.5, 0.6, all these particles will be removed completely. Their removal will be 100%. Okay. Now talking about the particles which are less than the concerned size. For that we can find out the percentage removal efficiency. Now can we use the relation that we have just obtained from this above expression? Can you do it? The first question should be this one only. Can I use it? Why this question should come up? Because this relation, or based upon the Stokes law, is valid only for laminar flow conditions, and these laminar flow conditions are only valid when the dia is less than 0.1 mm. If the dia is greater than 0.1 mm, then you can't apply this relation. You can't apply Stokes' law. In such a case, you have to barely assume certain values, and based upon that you can proceed with your calculation. The options will be given such that they will just check whether you are understanding the concept or not. Okay. Now let us assume randomly that for 0.3 size of particles, the efficiency of removal is 70%, and let us assume that for the particles of size is 0.2, the percentage removal efficiency is, let us say, 50%, let us say. So these values are just purely assumed values. They don't have any calculation backed up by them, but based upon the experience that these values will lie somewhere near this only. We have assumed certain values. Okay. Now based upon this assumption and the things that we have learned, we can find out the value of percentage removal efficiency. So how can we find out? Firstly, we'll take the weighted average. How to do that? So we will take all the concentrations that are we will combine them, that are removed with 100% efficiency. Then the next one, 200 times 70. Then the next 300 multiplied by 50. Okay. Now you have to take the average for it. Take the weighted average, multiply it by the percentage, and you will get the answer. Okay. This will give you the weighted average, or you can directly take it in the terms of percentage by dividing each value by 100, and then you can do it that way also. Okay, then you will be not requiring this 100 fraction. Right now you will not be requiring that fraction, but if you convert it in terms of fractions initially, then you will be requiring. So with this you will get around approx value of 79% of efficiency of removal. Okay. Now we will also be doing some questions that have been asked in GATE exam previously, but after this lecture, maybe in the next lecture. So before that, let us quickly take down some important design data values that will be required whenever we are asked to design a certain problem based upon sedimentation tank analysis. So give the heading design data for sedimentation tank. So write down the first term. It is the overflow rate or the OFR value. What does overflow rate basically means is the amount of discharge that your sedimentation tank will be able to process per unit area. I repeat it once again, the amount of discharge that your sedimentation tank will be able to process based upon the type of tank in terms of per unit area of that tank. Okay. Now this value of OFR is taken in range of 12,000 to 18,000 liter per meter square per day. This is amount of volume per unit area per day. In one day, how much can it take? And this value is for your plain sedimentation tanks. Plain sedimentation tanks. And 24,000 to 30,000 liter per meter square per day for coagulation aided sedimentation tank. What do we mean by coagulation aided sedimentation tank? This is the next process that we'll be learning. But basically, just to give a brief introduction, what does coagulation means? That there are certain particles of smaller size than the concerned size particle as of now. What we do, we introduce some chemical, some reaction happens, and all these particles, they come and stick together to form a bigger size particle, which is finally settled down in the sedimentation tank. So in the case when coagulation is also done in the sedimentation process, then the value of OFR varies between 24,000 to 30,000 liter per meter square per day. Now this unit liter per meter square per day, I can also write it down as meter cube per meter square per day. Okay, this unit has the same meaning. Okay, the values will be different. For this you need to find out that in 1 meter cube how many liters come. Okay, this is your short homework. So this is what, nothing but basically discharge per unit area. Okay, with this value you can find out the surface area of the tank. It will be given by your design discharge by the OFR value. Correct? Correct or not? I hope everyone agrees with the surface area expression. Now the second term is detention time. So your detention time for continuous flow type tank, it is in the range of 4 to 8 hours for plain sedimentation, and 2 to 4 hours for coagulation aided sedimentation. Tank. Okay, with this value we can find out the volume of tank. Volume of tank capital V can be easily given by the detention time times the design discharge. Okay, and we can also find out the depth of the tank or the depth of the settling zone as volume divided by surface area. Okay, next term we have is horizontal velocity of flow. So the horizontal flow velocity is in the range of 0.15 to 0.9 meters per minute, which is normally taken as which is normally taken as 0.3 meters per minute. You can find out the value of length using detention time multiplied by your flow velocity. Okay. With this, you can also calculate the width. Next, we have the width of the tank. Now, it is generally maintained. Mind it, all these values are from the water supply manual. Generally maintained in range of 10 to 12 meters. Okay. And the L by B ratio is adopted to be 4, around 4. Okay. I have already mentioned that all these tanks are designed for the maximum daily discharge. Now, second thing we need to consider when we are calculating the depth of the tank is that these analysis will give you the depth of the settling zone, but we need to find out the depth of the entire tank, which also includes the depth of the sludge zone. So for that, the water supply manual recommends that for the sludge zone we need to maintain around 0.8 to 1.2 meters. So that we will add to the depth capital H additionally. Okay, let's write a quick point on that one also. So the cleaning of tank if cleaning of tank is done manually is done manually then additional volume is provided then additional volume is provided at the bottom of the tank for accumulation of sludge. For accumulation of sludge. Depth of which is maintained in the range of 0.8 to 1.2 meters. Next, put a new heading. We'll be discussing the vertical flow type tank. Vertical flow type tank. Now let us first consider diagrammatically how this flow occurs. I hope by now we all have understood that how the horizontal flow type tank works. So this I am drawing the top, you can say top view of the tank. Okay. So this is your outer circumference. So how it actually works is there is an opening in the center through which the water is pumped, and as the water rises up this shaft, it starts flowing in all the directions. in all the directions at 360 degree. To understand it, let me draw the section view of the tank. So the tank looks somewhat like this. This is your opening. Okay. So from here, the water is pumped in and it finally reaches at the top surface and it starts flowing in the 360 direction. Now, next, as the water moves radially outwards, the velocity of flow reduces. Why it reduces? Because continuously, first of all, the radius is increasing, and secondly, the circumference is also increasing, because of which the it is observed that due to increase in radius, the area increases. As the flow area increases, the velocity of flow is observed to reduce. Now, how will it affect the sedimentation process? To understand it, let us consider a particle which is present at the top surface of the water. Okay. Now, what will happen? In the horizontal type, we discussed that it is observed that the particle takes a straight line path and settles down at the bottom of the settling zone. What happens here? This particle, this also settles down at the bottom of the settling zone, but it does not takes the uh, your straight line path. Instead, it takes a parabolic path. Okay, because the flow velocity is continuously changing. This is your flow velocity and this is your settling velocity. So the resultant is the direction is continuously changing, and it the particle takes a parabolic shape while the sedimentation process. Okay, I hope it is clear. So let us take some points with regards to it. So in vertical flow type tank, velocity of particle when it moves from center to circumference, when it moves from center to circumference of tank reduces as its area of flow increases, as its area of flow increases. बट क्या ये सेटलिंग वेलोसिटी पे कोई इफेक्ट होगा? नहीं, सेटलिंग वेलोसिटी कांस्टेंट रहती है, उतनी है जितनी, उस पर कोई इफेक्ट नहीं आ रहा है. सो सेटलिंग वेलोसिटी ऑफ पार्टिकल रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट. Settling velocity of particles remains constant. Hence, the path followed hence the path followed during settlement in this process, during settlement in this tank, is parabolic. Unlike unlike straight line path, unlike straight line path that is observed in the horizontal flow tank. That is observed, that is in the horizontal flow type tank. Okay. Now, to calculate the various dimensions, you barely need to know what is the diameter of this tank. Okay. So, to know the diameter, we have an empirical relation with us. Let me write it down. So, the volume of tank is computed as d square multiplied by 0.011d plus 0.785 h. Okay. The surface area is given as design discharge by the overflow rate. Okay. With this, you can find out the dia and the height of the settling zone, and the volume of this tank this value can be obtained by multiplying the design discharge with detention time. Okay. Now, before ending today's session, I will be giving you a problem that you need to solve it by yourself and put the answer in the comment box below. We'll be discussing the same problem in the next lecture. Okay. Please take down the question along with me. So the question is to determine the surface area of settling tank. Determine the surface area of settling tank for 0.5 meter cube per second of design flow using the overflow rate as 32.5 meter cube per meter square per day. Also find depth of sedimentation tank. Also find depth of sedimentation tank if detention time is equal to 95 minutes. Assume L by B ratio in range of 2:1 to 5:1, and also the length should not exceed 100 meters. Okay. Now try this question by yourself. Minded that OFR value is given, you have to determine the surface area of the settling tank for 0.5 meter cube per second design flow. You also need to find out the depth of the sedimentation tank. Okay. Now you have been asked to also assume L by B ratio in the given range, and the length should not exceed 100 meters. Try the question by yourself. Put the answer in the comment section below. Put the answer in this form. Firstly, write the length value in meters, then write the breadth value in meters, then write the height value or the depth value in meters again. Okay. Quite simple of a question. Try it. We'll be discussing it in the next lecture. For today's lecture, this is all. We discussed a lot about sedimentation analysis. We covered all the concepts. We also discussed different types of tanks that are available. In the next lecture also we will be continuing our discussion on some of the concepts that we need to apply, and we will be learning to concept through numericals section of our module. So till then, have a good day, and do solve this problem by today itself. It's a very short problem. It won't take more than 2 to 3 minutes. Do it by now. Put the answer in the comment section below, and we'll meet in the next lecture. Thank you for watching this lecture. If you really like it, if you are learning through the module, through this course, through the initiative of Let's Crack the Gate, please do share this video with your friends, subscribe to this channel, like the video. Thanks for watching. Jai Hind.